The arena pulsed with electric anticipation, spotlights slicing through the haze like knives. Steve Harvey froze mid-stride on the glittering stage, his trademark grin faltering as a tiny figure no taller than his knee exploded into motion. 1-year-old Lila Chen, clad in oversized pink gloves that dangled comically from her wrists, unleashed a roundhouse kick that whistled past his shin. Precise, ferocious, impossible. The crowd's roar choked into stunned silence. Harvey blinked, microphone limp in his hand. "Hold up, hold up! What in the world just happened?" His voice boomed over the speakers, but his eyes locked on the toddler, who bounced on her toes, tiny fists pumping the air. Backstage whispers had buzzed about this pint-sized phenom from Queens, New York, but nothing prepared him for the raw power radiating from her cherubic frame. Lila's parents, May and David Chen, stood frozen at the edge of the stage, their faces etched with a mix of pride and quiet dread. How had their daughter, born prematurely in a cramped Flushing apartment, turned playground tumbles into this? If this unbelievable moment has you glued to your screen, hit that Lila didn't wait for applause. She darted forward, her bare feet pattering like rain on concrete, and shadow-boxed an invisible foe with jabs that snapped like firecrackers. Harvey knelt slowly, his suit jacket straining at the knees, extending a hand as if approaching a wild fawn. "Little miss, you trying to take me out before the show even starts?" The audience exhaled in ripples of nervous laughter, but tension coiled tighter. Lila paused, tilted her head, then mirrored his gesture. Perfect form, elbow tucked, guard up. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every quiver of her determined lip. It started 6 months earlier, in the Chen family's modest walk-up overlooking the 7 train tracks. May, a nail technician with calloused hands, noticed it first. Lila, barely crawling, would mimic the Muay Thai warm-ups David streamed on his phone during lunch breaks from his bodega shift. At 8 months, she rolled into a somersault that dodged the coffee table's edge by millimeters. By 10 months, she stood unaided, wobbling into stances pulled from YouTube clips. Pivot, feint, strike. Neighbors called it a phase. Doctors shrugged it off as early motor skills. But David saw fire. He cleared the living room, padded the floors with old mats scavenged from a gym dumpster, and let her explore. No drills, no pressure, just instinct. Now, under the arena's glare, Harvey rose, waving the family on stage. "Folks, give it up for the Chens and this future champ who's got more moves than I got suits." Cheers erupted, but Lila's eyes scanned the horizon, unblinking. She spotted a stagehand adjusting a prop dummy in the wings, life-sized, padded for demos. Without a cue, she toddled toward it, the crowd leaning forward as one. Harvey's brow furrowed. "Wait, is she?" Short breaths, tiny steps accelerating. Lila planted her heel, twisted her hips in a blur, and drove a sidekick square into the dummy's midsection. Fabric ripped with a sharp thwack. The prop teetered, then toppled backward into a stack of lights. Gasps rippled outward. Stagehands scrambled. Harvey's jaw hung open, his quick wit silenced for the first time in decades. "Y'all see that? She just laid out a grown man's target like it owed her money." May clutched David's arm, her knuckles whitening. They'd debated this for weeks. America's funniest family moments, a low-stakes variety show taping in Atlanta, safe exposure, a viral clip to fund Lila's future. But seeing her unleash that kick live, with 5 Zorzerl eyes dissecting every twitch, cracked open old fears. What if the world labeled her a freak? What if scouts came knocking too soon, twisting her joy into a grind? David whispered, "She's ready, May. She chose this." Lila spun back to center stage, unfazed, dropping into a fighter's crouch. Harvey recovered, mic raised. "All right, Tiny Terror, show us what else you got. But go easy on Uncle Steve, here?" He positioned himself playfully, arms up in mock defense. The band struck a low drumbeat, syncing with the audience's quickening pulse. Lila circled him, her gaze piercing, assessing angles, predicting shifts. She feinted left, drawing his weight, then snapped a low shin kick that grazed his polished loafer. Harvey hopped back, laughing through wide eyes. Whoa! That tickled, in a painful way. Tension thickened the air. Backstage monitors flickered with close-ups, Lila's sweat-beaded forehead, her parents' rigid smiles. A producer murmured into a headset, "This is gold, keep it rolling." But Harvey sensed the undercurrent. This wasn't comedy. It was a glimpse into something primal, a toddler's brain wired for combat in a world that prized cuddles over clinches. He knelt again, closer this time. "Where'd you learn that, kiddo? You been training in secret?" David stepped forward, voice steady over the din. "She taught herself, Steve, from watching us, from playing. We just made space." May nodded, adding softly, "She's won, but her focus, it's like she's always 3 steps ahead." Lila, tiring of the adult chatter, grabbed Harvey's dangling tie and yanked him down to her level. Face to face, she planted a glove on his cheek, gentle tap, then a playful shove. The crowd melted into awes. But Harvey held her stare, feeling the weight of unspoken questions. Prodigy or anomaly? Gift or burden? The drumbeat swelled. Lila released him, backing up with purpose. She waved at the dummy, now righted by frantic crew. Harvey signaled, "Let her go." She charged. Jab, cross, hook. Each landed with toddler fury amplified by impossible precision. The prop shuddered, seams straining. One final teep kick, palm heel thrust, sent it skidding across the stage. Silence crashed down again, heavier. Then, thunderous applause. Harvey wiped his brow, turning to the camera. "Y'all, I came here to host. Now I'm dodging haymakers from a diaper wearer. Lila Chen, you got the whole world speechless tonight." But as confetti rained and lights dimmed for commercial, May's eyes met David's. The high faded fast. Viral fame meant scrutiny, trainers, contracts, the slow erosion of childhood. Lila yawned, rubbing her eyes, suddenly just a tired 1-year-old. Harvey scooped her up gently, her head lolling on his shoulder. "Rest up, champ. Round 2's coming." Yet in the quiet wings, whispers grew. Producers huddled. Phones buzzed with offers. The Chens exchanged glances, thrilled, terrified. This was only the beginning. What doors would her skills unlock? What shadows might follow? The arena emptied slowly, echoes lingering like unanswered challenges. Lila slept through it all, dreaming of endless mats and phantom foes. Morning light sliced through the motel curtains, painting stripes across Lila's crib. Her father, Marco, paced the threadbare carpet, phone clutched like a lifeline. The video from last night's show had exploded overnight, millions of views, comments flooding in like a digital tidal wave. Reporters camped outside the arena doors even now, but Marco had slipped them with a service exit and a borrowed van. Steve Harvey's call came at dawn. "Marco, that little firecracker of yours, she's got the world buzzing. Family Feud producers want her on next week, full segment. You in?" Marco hesitated, glancing at Lila gnawing a teething ring shaped like a glove. Her tiny fists pumped instinctively. "Steve, she's won. Diapers and naps, not spotlights." Harvey chuckled, voice gravelly over the line. "World don't care about age when talent hits like that. Think bigger, man. Doors opening wide." He hung up, and Marco sank onto the bed. Bigger, the word echoed. Rent overdue, his warehouse job cut hours ago. Lila's mom had left months back, chasing stability in another state. This could be it, or a trap. By noon, talent scouts swarmed their inbox. Gym owners offered free training mats. Sponsors dangled baby-sized gear. Marco fielded calls while Lila babbled at her reflection, shadowboxing the mirror with precision that defied her age. They drove to a local gym that afternoon, the one with the viral Clips ring. Coach Ramirez, a weathered ex-fighter with tattoos snaking up his arms, waited at the door. "Saw the footage. Kid's got footwork like Ali Reborn. Let's see it live." Lila toddled onto the mat, eyes locking on a padded dummy half her size. Marco knelt beside her. "Show 'em, champ." She exploded into motion, left jab, hook, a spinning kick that dented the padding. The gym fell silent, heavy bags swaying forgotten. Ramirez whistled low. Instinct, pure, but raw. Needs polish before the wolves circle. Wolves. Marco felt it then, the undercurrent, cameras everywhere, whispers of prodigy laced with greed. That night, back in the motel, Lila fussed. Not hunger, something deeper. Marco rocked her, humming old lullabies. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "Marco, Elena Vargas, Elite Youth Sports. We book international tours. Lila could headline Tokyo next month. Private jet, $1 million deal." His pulse spiked. Tokyo. Lights. Crowds. Lila buried her face in his shoulder, tiny hands clenching. "No." "Oh," he said finally. Too soon. But sleep evaded him. Visions played, arenas packed, flashes blinding, hands reaching for his girl. What fueled her? Genetics from his boxing uncles, or something unspoken, a fire lit too early? Days blurred. Steve Harvey flew them to LA studios, gleamed under perpetual sun. Lila, in a custom gi too big for her frame, faced a panel of judges. Harvey emceed, mic in hand, grin wide. "Ladies and gents, meet Lila, 1-year-old, zero fear." The crowd erupted as she danced across the stage, feints, kicks landing with pops that echoed through speakers. A volunteer dummy toppled, gasps rippled. Harvey knelt, eye level. "Darling, where'd you learn that?" Lila giggled, patted his cheek, then launched a playful hook that grazed his shoulder. Laughter boomed. But Marco saw the spark in Harvey's eyes, starstruck, calculating. Post-show, offers piled, documentaries, merch lines. A reality series pitched as Tiny Titan. Marco signed a management deal with caution, clauses for her naps and nutrition. Training intensified. Ramirez flew in daily, drills scaled down, balance on cushions, strikes on balloons. Lila thrived. Bruises blooming like badges under long sleeves. Marco watched her spar shadows, wondering if joy or pressure drove those strikes. Tension coiled at home, or what passed for it, a rented condo in the valley. Lila's cries sharpened at night, teething, or echoes of exertion. Marco hired a nanny, Rosa, soft-spoken with grandkids her age. "She's a blessing," Rosa said, "but babies bend easy. Watch the load." He nodded, but the schedule crushed. Gym at dawn, interviews by lunch, viral challenges after dark. Lila's face plastered billboards. "Kick like Lila," cracks showed. A promo shoot ran late. Lila dozed mid-strike, collapsing into Marco's arms. Cameras captured it. Adorable exhaustion, like sword. He seethed inwardly. Then the shadow struck. A rival promoter leaked doubts online. Staged, wires, child labor dressed as talent. Forums ignited, haters swarmed. Too young, exploitative. Sponsors wavered. Marco faced a press conference, Lila on his hip. Flashes blinded, questions pelted. "Is she safe? What's the end game?" He gripped the podium. "Lila fights because she loves it. We're protecting her every step." But doubt gnawed. Late that night, alone, he scrolled comments. Pushing her too hard. Fame's a beast. Lila stirred in her crib, kicking air, dreaming again. Harvey called next morning. "Rough waters, brother, but ride 'em. Big fight expo in Vegas. Headline with pros, turn the tide." Vegas, neon haze. Marco packed bags, heart leaden. The van hummed west, desert stretching endless. Lila babbled at cacti blurring past. The expo loomed, massive dome, pros shadowboxing under lights. Lila's slot, demo bout against a teen trainer, padded and playful. Crowd swelled, 10,000 strong. She entered to cheers, tiny robe slipping off shoulders. Marco's throat tightened. Round one, she circled, feinted, leg whipped high, grazing the trainer's guard. Ooze rose, trainer pressed gentle. Lila ducked, countered with a flurry. Hooks landed soft but sure. Mid-round she paused, stared at the ropes, then unleashed, a combo blurring fists and feet. Trainer stumbled back, grinning awe. Crowd thundered, but Marco saw her wince, a tiny hitch in her step. Post-fight VIP lounge buzzed, pros clustered, kid's a phenom. Trainer right, she's gold. A slick agent sidled up. Marco, hear of underground circuits, high stakes, anonymity, real tests. Underground. Shadows lengthened. Marco waved him off, but the seed planted. Backstage, Lila fussed, rubbing her ankle. Rosa iced it discreetly. Rest, Mija. That night, hotel suite overlooking the strip. Lights pulsed below like a heartbeat. Marco held Lila as she drifted off. Her breaths evened, fists unclenching. What doors? Fame's glare unlocked them, but shadows slithered through. Pressure, rivals, the grind wearing small bones. Phone lit up. International offer. Sydney showcase. Bigger purse. He stared at the screen. Lila murmured in sleep, kicking phantom foes. Dawn broke harsh. Decisions loomed. Training camps whispered of relocation. Homeschool for her future, or pull back. Marco rose, brewed coffee black. Lila woke giggling, reaching for her gloves. The path forked. Push forward, risk the blaze, or shield her, fade from lights. But the world watched. Pulled. If you're hooked on Lila's journey, smash that Vegas faded in rear view. Next stop, a secluded ranch for intensive prep. Ramirez mapped it. Agility courses, strength drills disguised as play. Lila adapted fast, chasing laser pointers into leaps, stacking blocks into strikes. Yet nights brought unease. Marco dreamed of crowds turning feral, hands clawing mats. He woke sweating, checked her crib. Rosa confided over tea. She's mimicking you, Marco. Your tension feeds hers. He nodded grim. Started yoga sessions, breathing deep. Lila joined, tumbling into poses, laughing. Sydney gig approached, flights booked, but a glitch. Customs flagged her gear. Weapons. Delay stretched days. Stranded in LC, Marco took her to the beach. Waves lapped, sand soft under tiny feet. Lila chased gulls, kicking sprays high. Pure joy. No mats, no eyes. For the first time in weeks, Marco breathed free. This, he whispered, this is enough. But calls intruded. Harvey, don't slack. Momentum's gold. Agent, bids pouring. Choose wisely. Shadows deepened. A tabloid hinted paternity suits. Lila's mom resurfacing. Lies but mud stuck. Marco lawyered up. Fortified walls. Lila sparred oblivious. Power growing. Sydney finally greenlit. Plane roared skyward. Lila pressed nose to window. Clouds foes below. Arena there, humid, electric. Asian crowd roared polite thunder. Lila dazzled, spins, sweeps, unyielding. Victory lap. Contract signed, fortune swelled. Homeward, Marco pondered. Bank secure, but Lila's eyes held questions unspoken. What next? Global tours or roots? The fire burned, unquenchable. Pull back? Impossible now. Doors swung wide. Shadows waited patient. Lila's tiny fists clenched, shadows dancing across the studio lights. Steve Harvey leaned forward, microphone forgotten in his grip. The crowd's hush thickened, a living thing pressing in. 1 year old, impossible. Yet there she stood, balanced on calloused toddler feet, eyes locked on the padded dummy twice her size. What next? Steve echoed her unspoken gaze, voice gravelly with awe. Cameras zoomed tight. Global tours flickered in producers' whispers. Japan dojos, Vegas rings, endorsements stacking like poker chips. But roots. Mama Rosa clutched her rosary backstage, whispering prayers against the roar. The fire in Lila burned hotter, unquenchable. Each kick landed precise, a blur of pink sneakers and raw power. Pull back? Mama had tried. Locked doors at dawn. Hidden mitts. But Lila mimicked shadows on the wall, YouTube clips of TIE fighters glimpsed on a cracked phone screen. Impossible now. Talent scouts circled like wolves, contracts gleaming. Doors swung wide, shadows waited patient. One shadow loomed tallest, Victor Kane, promoter with a shark smile and Vegas neon in his veins. "Little Lila," he purred post-show, slipping Mama a card slick as oil. "One fight, one night, 500,000, change your life." Mama Rosa's hands trembled over the diner shift that night. Grease-smeared apron hiding the card. Lila slept in the booth, tiny chest rising steady, dreaming combos. Roots in the Bronx projects, cracked sidewalks, salsa rhythms from open windows, abuelita's tamales steaming. Or wings. Steve's call lingered. "Kid's a phenom. World needs this." If you're glued to this story, smash that tension coiled tighter days later. Victor's jet-black SUV idled outside the walk-up. Lila shadow-boxed the air, giggling at pigeons scattering. Mama weighed it. Eviction notices piling, Lila's mitts wearing thin. "One fight," Victor promised. "Controlled, safe, padded gloves, she's ready." Training ramped brutal. Lila's world shrank to ropes and rhythms. Dawn runs in Van Cortlandt Park, leaves crunching underfoot. Coach Manny, ex-champ with scars like roadmaps, barked counts. Jab, hook, pivot. Lila absorbed, sponge to fury. 1, 2, 3, fluid, lethal grace in diapers. Steve Harvey watched from afar, guest spot turning obsession. He texted Mama, "Protect her spark, but let it breathe." Crowd footage looped on his feed, speechless faces, jaws unhinged. Lila's clip hit 10 million views. Brands called energy drinks. Her kid gear, whispers of movies, but shadows deepened. First opponent, Mia, 3 years old, prodigy from LA gyms, underground ring in a Jersey warehouse, lights harsh, bass thumping, no cameras, Victor's rules, Mama's gut twisted, Lila bounced in, eyes wide, no fear. Round 1, Mia lunged wild, Lila dodged, counterkick snapping air, thud. Crowd, tattooed locals, scouts in hoodies, leaned in. Breath held. Lila circled, tiny storm, jab, cross. Mia stumbled. Lila pressed, relentless rhythm. Mama prayed from the shadows. Victor grinned, counting heads. Steve arrived incognito, cap low, heart pounding. "This ain't right," he muttered to Manny, but the fire demanded fuel. Round 2 blurred faster. Mia rallied, tiny fists flying. Lila absorbed a graze, cheek blooming red. No quit. Pivot. Uppercut ghosted Mia's chin. Ref paused. Enough? No. Lila's eyes burned questions again. Roots or flight? Bell clanged. Mia's corner tapped out. Warehouse erupted. Lila raised arms, milk teeth flashing victory. Victor slapped Mama's back. "Told you. Next. Nationals." But Lila toddled to Mama, collapsing into arms, slick with effort. Exhaustion hit like a wave. Mama felt it then, the pull, too strong. Shadows patient but devouring. Weeks spun, nationals in Vegas, lights blinding, slots chiming distant, Lila versus nationwide seeds. Steve emceed, voice booming cover. "Ladies and gentlemen, the 1-year-old wonder." Crowd swelled, 10,000 strong, phones aloft. First bout, clean sweep, kicks like thunderclaps on pads, semis, grueling. Opponent taller, fiercer, Lila danced, evaded, struck. Bruises bloomed under baby fat, but she rose each time. Finals night, Aria Voss, 2-year-old phenom, undefeated. Ring announcer hyped, "Unbelievable skills incoming!" Lila entered to cheers, pink robe trailing. Voss mirrored, eyes steel. Gong, Voss charged. Lila slipped, countered low. Thump. Crowd gasped, rhythm built, short bursts, feints, explosive chains. Voss landed a hook. Lila wobbled. Mama bit knuckles raw. Steve gripped rail. "Fight smart, kid." Mid-round pivot, Lila unleashed, combo blurring light. Voss reeled. Ref watched close. Lila pressed, fire pure. Final kick folded Voss gentle. Bell, victory. Medal cold on Lila's neck, but eyes dimmed. Overtrained limbs quaked. Mama scooped her, whispering, "Enough." Backstage storm. Victor raged. "Tour! Millions!" Steve cornered him. "She's a child, not a machine." Mama nodded, card torn in fist. Roots called louder. Bronx stoops, family plates steaming. Lila chasing siblings, sans gloves. Decision crystallized at dawn. Central Park, mist rising. Lila chased ducks, kicks playful now, not honed. Mama burned the contracts. We train for us, she told Steve over coffee. Sparks, not infernos. Steve nodded. Eyes misty. Smart, world still watching. He launched her channel, Lila's Play Fights. Views soared, clean, joyful. No shadows, just fire banked warm. Months later, studio reunion. Steve's show, lights soft. Lila, now crawling bold, shadow boxed a teddy. Crowd chuckled, speechless still. Mama beamed. Roots held, wings clipped gentle. Victor faded, chasing new flames. Lila grew. Skills, simmering private. Questions answered, balance. Fire eternal but tamed. The spark endured. Unquenchable, yes, but hers alone. Hey, if this tale of raw talent gripped you, hit